say, and think about the meaning, okay? I'm gonna say, break the silence, and you're gonna say, end the violence. Because in order for people to end the violence, we have to break the silence first. Ready? Yes. All right. Break the silence.
End the violence.
Break the silence.
End the violence.
Break the silence.
End the violence.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us at our 26th annual Silent March Against Domestic Violence. For over 25 years, we've gathered here to raise awareness concerning this pernicious harm that is infecting our community.
3 out of 10 women and 1 out of 10 men have suffered from some type of domestic violence by their partner. And it is incredibly empowering that we stand here as community leaders and members to say that it is important to break our silence and to do whatever we can to end the violence.
To protect the victims and uplifting their lives of the victims of domestic violence is actually a mission and dedication that the Governor Kathy Hochul carries. Is also because of her own mother. So Governor just proclaimed October to be the month of Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and she is working with all state agencies to ensure that we're providing the services and trainings to all state employees and their families. But the governor's office this year also is partnering with Syracuse University and other colleges of the entire state to make sure the male victims, men and boys, are also being provided with the critical service. And lastly, I just want to give a huge shout out to all of you. And of course, GHA, Korean American Family Service Center, we will ensure, the governor will ensure that you're continuing to be provided with the funding.
And 26 years, you know, when this march first began, it was only a fraction of this size. And in fact, there were lots of people in the community who didn't even want to acknowledge that domestic violence was a problem. But every year, KAFSC put this together, and every year we marched through the downtown Flushing in the middle of rush hour to make sure people understood that this was a problem. That's exactly what we did again today. And in the 26 years, I think the community and the city, state, and nation, we've actually made a lot of progress in the fight against domestic violence, but it's not over yet.
Today, obviously, we march for those who have been silenced. We march for those who are suffering silently as we speak. And no matter how you identify, no matter what your status is, we need to ensure that we continue to march for those, especially in marginalized communities, who don't feel they have a voice in this fight. And I'm reminded at the height of the pandemic of how much DV victims were silenced, how they suffered. It's one of the reasons why when I was in the council and I chaired the Public Safety Committee, we fought to make sure that we can have that text to 911 system as well. So if you're unaware of that, that was the reason we created the text to 911 system. And we need to make sure that we continue to elevate the conversation around this struggle. And it's one of the reasons why working with, and I see Ariella, who runs gender justice for my office. We're carrying a grant from the Department of Justice and working with many of our partner organizations to make sure we continue to get the word out about this. So once again, it's so important that we march, especially in immigrant, diverse communities, to make sure that, of course, being the county we are, representative of 190 countries, over 360 languages and dialects, that folks understand that they do not have to suffer in silence. So may we all continue to struggle together, to march together, to make sure that we let folks know that if they are suffering, that there are organizations that you can go to. And I know that in my capacity as an elected, I've gotten those calls in the middle of the night from individuals looking for those services, and I'm so grateful that we have partners like Korean American Family Services who are doing this work, because we know that a lot of individuals are scared to call 911.
And I think a lot of people up and down this strip and around our community, they want to hide from the fact that domestic violence exists, because then they don't have to address it. And this is a way to bring it right into people's faces. We know it exists, and it's not acceptable. And it's also a way to let people know that they are not alone, that there's help out there If people want to come forward, they'll be taken care of. And I want to thank GHAE and KFSE and all the groups that provide that help. So letting people know that they're truly not alone. So thank you for having me.
Let me thank my office here who came out in force. District Attorney's Office comes out into the community. So I want to thank them. I want to thank the Korean American Family Service Center and all the elected officials that showed up for this today. You know, it's a Friday. I want to think about this for 1 second. It is a Friday afternoon at 4:30 in the afternoon. And here we are in one of the busiest neighborhoods in the entire borough of Queens County. Because that's how important it is for us to get the word out to anyone who may not be able to be here today. They need to know that there are communities that care. They need to know that there are not-for-profits that care. They need to know that there are elected officials who care. They need to know that there's a district attorney who will hold people accountable when they think that domestic violence is okay, because it is not.
Thanks to everybody who came out today in support. It's so important that we come here every year. It's been 26 years to come together as a community and make sure that we are standing firm in our fight in trying to end domestic violence. It's so important that we have organizations like KAFSC and all other partner organizations to make sure that these support services are not just right in front of us, that the community knows that we can access, but also know that these are services that are in language. These are services that are culturally competent. These are spaces that our community can come and feel safe and understand that we have nonprofits, community leaders, and coalitions working together to make sure that our families feel safer today than yesterday. So thank you everybody who came in today in support. Thanks to our organizers. Thanks to our elected officials. And let's keep going. Thanks, guys.
Listen, we walked together, and it was a silent march, but it was the loudest that I've seen in a very long time. We made our way through the streets collectively. Folks that are elected, folks that are part of community organizations, children, parents, etc., all across the board with one clear message to this form of violence, all forms of violence. No more. No more. And so we stand in solidarity with all communities in taking this position, and also know, for those that suffer in silence, please know that we are here for you, and asking for help is not a sign of weakness. And so today's commitment, whether it's every year, OPHC will be here to be able to support these efforts and know that, listen, break the silence and the violence. Thank you.
We stand together with all survivors of domestic violence, both in our words and actions through legislation. Thank you to GHAE Kim, Joanne Kim, and the entire team at KAFSC for uniting everyone here today. Thank you for all the work you have done so that our future generations won't have to battle this alone. We look forward to a day when we are in a better place, but in the meantime, we stand together to break the silence and the violence. Thank you all.
Any victim of domestic violence, or you know someone, or you're close to someone who lives under that threat, should know that they have that right to take safe leave, to seek refuge, to seek assistance, legal assistance, whatever it is that they need. A lot of our colleagues in government are here, council members, assembly members, senators, congresswomen, and thanks to them we have all these laws that we really want you to take advantage of. Depending on the size of your employer, you can have up to 56 hours of paid sick and sick leave. So please remember that if anybody, any employer is not giving you that time or is retaliating against you for asking or taking that time, we need you to come to us and let us know, whether it is nyc.gov/DCWP to file a complaint or by calling 311.
You have the absolute commitment from all your city council members, especially the ones standing right here, to make sure that all of you have the funding that you need to support the services that you do. And I want to thank you for the services that you do. As an attorney, you used to represent victims of domestic violence, to get their orders of protection, to get child custody, to file petitions. This work is some of the most challenging, emotionally hard work I ever done my whole life. So I want to give you all right now a big shout out and thank you, really thank you for what you do.
And especially with a lot of the DV victims, we saw how there was such an increase in situations, incidences, because people were trapped at home. And I have to say, as someone who ran also a Korean nonprofit organization for many years, who started up a mental health clinic, we know by doing this work in the community that we need in-language, culturally sensitive services for our communities because we need places for them to go. And it's already hard. There's already stigma. We got to break that stigma. But then after we break that stigma, they need places to receive services. And that's why organizations like KFSC are so important. And all the ones that are here, we know all of these groups here that are doing the hard work. And we just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you for all that you do in the community to support our communities and to really be there. And special shout out also to the 109th Precinct, who always is a great partner, because we know that with them, along with the DA's office, the nonprofit community, we're trying to provide services throughout the whole spectrum, and we need each and every partner at the table. And for the very first time, and I know you guys have heard me say this, for the very first time, we have 6 Asian Americans in the city council, which has never happened before. 3 of us are here, 50% of us. But I gotta say, it matters, right? Because when we see all your organizations' names in the budget and it comes time to allocate funding, we know the work firsthand that you guys do, and we will continue to support you. We will continue to advocate on your behalf and for our communities, and so we just wanted to say thank you.
And I'm so honored and touched and inspired to be here today. And I want to say a big thank you to GHAE, to KFSC. There's so many organizations here we work so closely with. Voces Latinas, SUPNA, Arab American Family Support Center. So I don't want to name because I won't name one and I'll make a mistake. Exactly. But what I would say, there's so many organizations here, and this march, I always think about it, over all these years, in 26 years of this march happening here in Flushing, it may be in silence, but the work that you are all doing, the message sent here today, echoes across our city. And it echoes in some of the most vulnerable communities who often don't know where to turn but are in desperate need of help.
It's a great honor to join you all tonight for this wonderful march that GHAE and KFSC and all of you have been hosting year after year to break the violence and to break the silence and to end the violence. So we want to thank you all for all that you do, and we continue to looking forward to working with you for many more years to come. So thank you.
Thank you, Korean American Family Service Center, for inviting us to be a part of this incredible event. We are so grateful for this partnership and for your vital work in the community. Please call the New York City Family Justice Center in the borough you live in, or wherever in the borough that you feel safest, to receive services if you are a survivor of domestic violence.
I want to give a big shout out to all the CBOs who joined today. Violence Intervention Program, Arab American Family Support Center, National Asian Pacific American Women's Forum, Women for African Women, Nonviolent Peace Force, GLOW Cultural Center, Chinese American Planning Council, Coalition for Asian American Children and Families, Asian Americans for Equality, Korean American Civic Empowerment, Asian American Cohesion, Korean Community Service for all of Metropolitan New York, YWCA of Queens, and there's more. Asian American Federation, Elmhurst Community Partnership, Garden of Hope, India Home, Safe Horizons, Sanctuary for Families,